What's up everyone? DBX Saitama the Blonde and the Bald was created by Garow Lee, the author of Dragon Ball Sai and many other fan projects. Remember to show this guy some love on his social media accounts. Also, shout out to Mark Chambers for being our newest Mondo crew member. In the distant, lonely abyss that is space, something cold glares into the boundless laguna. Frieza laments ever getting involved with SA and Broly, although they have quickly managed to recoup their lost troops. The entire ordeal with that maniac was simply a big mess. When he's approached by his loyal, albeit slightly sassy, servant Berry Blue. Holding a box, she informs her master they have stumbled across quite the interesting substance. As we peer in, they almost appear to be the fruit of the Tree of Might, but much more dehydrated, and flesh-like, and gross-looking. The Emperor peers at him with a wall of disgust on his face, questioning what these disturbing things are. His subordinate explains they are known as monster cells. She was able to acquire them through a secret channel, and if you're familiar with the Super Fight arc of another franchise, you know what they do. Upon ingestion, they will instantly grant a power-up to their host, ushering forth an era of personal strength previously unimaginable, sending even the most mediocre of warriors beyond their limits. Frieza finds it hard to believe something so simple could have such paramount results. All someone has to do is eat one of these, whatever they are, and surpass their own boundaries in an instant? That's quite the remarkable claim. But since this is our lovable Frost Demon, he decides he will test it out on his men first. Moments later, several members of the Frieza Force stand dumbfounded at the request, seeming to never have seen a food like this before. One playing back the requisition, making sure his overlord really wants him to eat whatever this is, who assures that is the case, urging they get on with it. Shooting each other a quick glance, it's not like they really have a choice in the matter. Causing the first minion to transform into some kind of beast man. Catching his breath and regaining his bearings, he throws his hands up in excitement, shouting he's now bursting with power. Even the Tyrant lets out a smile at the results. He instructs the rest of them to eat up, as he informs they'll be heading back to Earth once more. Berry Blue is confused why they would return there so soon, but Frieza is eager to see a proper demonstration of what exactly this stuff is capable of. This way, they will be fully prepared for their next encounter with Son Goku. Who knows, maybe he'll never have need to enact his revenge himself if these monster cells are all they're cracked up to be. On our humble world, we're treated to a cascading mountain range and vast ocean, seeming to be the same region they landed in Resurrection F. This time, it appears the experimental soldiers took a much smaller craft to sneak onto our world. Though unbeknownst to them, chances are their presence has already been detected regardless of their strategy. With a rather confident expression, the blonde one reiterates how Frieza told them to simply go through the motions, and the Saiyans should show up, but didn't bother to explain how exactly the warriors of this planet would be able to do so. His equal reminds them to add a lord in front of their emperor's name. However, given his expression, it comes off as less than sincere. Transforming, he doesn't know much about this monster business, but kind of digs the makeover this gunk has given him, not to mention the immense power. Shouting heck, all of them together could probably take down Frieza themselves now. His comrade smirks, maybe they can.
Let's give them some fireworks! Bring on the Saiyans!
Goku appears behind him as soon as their key is fully revealed, asking if they're Frieza's men. The confidence of the men quickly fades, not expecting him to arrive so instantaneously fast. Noticing the Tyrant himself isn't here, he then questions what exactly they're doing on Earth. The soldier resembling a lion takes a few steps closer to our hero, chuckling they've merely stopped by to test something out.
You can be our punching bag, Saiyan!
Like anything else was expected, Goku drops the beast with ease. Also in predictable fashion, he merely grunts these guys are no match for him, so they better get off his planet. Obviously, the soldiers did not know what they were in for upon arriving here, but warned they've been fully informed on Earth's hero and know all about his one weakness. He asks what weakness. Yes! Ray guns. Ray guns are Goku's one weakness. The brute belly laughs at the irony. Unthinkable someone like this could be so easily defeated with the most basic of weaponry. At first, he didn't believe for a second Frieza was even being serious when suggesting it. The Lion Beast picks himself back up. Still in a daze, the others have to cue him in on what just happened. Fortunate for them all, the Saiyan won't be an issue anymore. Staring downward, he plans to savor his revenge for being humiliated in such a way, promising Goku, whatever pain he's in now, it'll soon be doubled.
What?
Of all fighters, Jaco the Galactic Patrolman is one of the first on the scene. Although, I suppose it is his job, if he's assigned to be protecting the Earth. Having noticed their ship whip through the exosphere, he was worried Frieza again decided to get up to his classic ways. Storming towards him, furious at being shot in the face, the soldier demands to know who exactly this guy thinks he is. And it appears doubtful Jaco will be able to handle this on his own. When someone else steps out of his own ship, he grumbles this isn't where they were supposed to be going, stumbling in their direction. He thought they were heading to the supermarket. Losing his focus on the possible danger of the situation, Jaco finds frustration in being a super cool, super elite space officer, and he's been reduced to being someone's errand runner. But Saitama questions what this thing behind him is supposed to be. The patrol is shouting he's the bad guy. Getting a good gaze in, the hero theorizes this lion dude is probably a monster, supposing this world must have those monster cell things too. The beast confirms that is such the case, so this apparently must make himself and his comrades space monsters, which causes Saitama to balk at how stupid that sounds. But his foe bellows from now on, they will be the ones who dominate the universe. Not Saiyans, not Frieza, they alone are the new galactic overlords.
We don't have time for the likes of you!
Saitama! Causing a bit more than a flesh wound to his enemy. The others can't believe he managed to do so much damage with such little effort. Able to breathe a sigh of relief, Jaco celebrates the easy one-shot, more or less because now he doesn't have to worry about saving his own skin. Kneeling down to check on Goku. Luckily, with a few pats, he comes to, who asks what he's doing here. He explains he just so happened to be passing through, but he did catch what happened regarding the ray gun, jeering he needs to be more careful with those. The Saiyan can only apologize in a bit of shame. No time for small talk. The other members of the Frieza Force scoff that soldier they just killed was the weakest among them all. So taking on the remaining three of them won't be so easy. Without turning his head, Goku asks Saitama if he'll fight with him, who's caught off guard by the request, but reluctantly guesses he will. Getting pumped, the Saiyan is ready to go. The Class B hero a bit less enthused, urging his foes he's in a hurry, so if they could be quick and get on with it, that would be best. The villains sense an ominous pressure emitting through the air, but the dreadful feeling isn't coming from Goku. Throwing their fears aside, they charge forward, which was a bad idea.
What? I get the Saiyan, but what's up with the bald guy?
As the Ki Blast careens towards our heroes, Saitama has to hand it to him. That is a pretty neat looking attack. Goku urging he leave it to him. With exactly as minimal effort, the Earth is safe once more. Saitama actually impressed at Goku's Kamehameha technique, questioning if he's a cyborg to be able to do something like that. But he doesn't see the correlation. With a sneak attack! Ray guns are only Goku's weakness. The totally brave warrior who was previously hiding in the bushes immediately throws his hands up to surrender. Making sure his new friend is okay, he assures he's perfectly fine. But seeing the ridiculous strength of the duo, the lone soldier knows he stands no chance against monsters like this. And since they seem a bit distracted, quickly taking off and zooming back to space, Jaco frantically shouts to Goku if he plans to just let him go, who nonchalantly utters he doesn't mind. Because, of course he doesn't. Snapping back to Saitama, he excitedly hollers he's a lot stronger than he initially thought, asking the man's name. Introducing himself formally, the Saiyan questions if he'd like to spar sometime, just the two of them, who thinks that actually sounds like a lot of fun. When Jaco remembers what they're in the middle of before all this started, reminding Saitama the sale is going to end at any moment. And it's clear he's not the only one who forgot. Offering a simple, "my bad," the Class B hero waves goodbye, leaving Goku with a bit more to be desired. Though, bringing up the supermarket was only a ruse, as Jocko believes if these two were to fight, the entire Earth would explode, and as a member of the prestigious Galactic Patrol, that'll probably result in at least a demotion for himself. Back with Frieza, the escaped soldier informs the Emperor on what happened, who initially takes his time to offer a response, but reveals he isn't surprised at all to hear the mission ended in failure, stating it's about par for course to not be able to find such an easy solution to such an involute problem. The henchman continues, elaborating it wasn't merely the Saiyans who were the issue, but an equally threatening bald guy who they have no records of. Remembering back to his second visit to Earth, all who come to mind don't exactly match what his underling is claiming. Either way, it seems there's no choice but to eat the monster cell himself. Though gazing upon it, its rather grotesque texture and appearance don't sit right with him. Giving it a quick jolt, the idea of eating this thing raw is relatively off-putting. As he munches it down, he inquires of MajinBlue. He was supposed to roast it, right? He was unsure if he should have done so to that extent. With this, he will be able to transcend even beyond Golden Frieza. This will be precisely the power-up required to take on those Saiyans. Cackling, the gods have gifted him the perfect opportunity. He instead ends up with a terrible case of, well, if you're familiar with what happened to Speed of Sound Sonic when he cooked the monster cell, you already know.
Next time on Dragon Guy Punchball.